Is DC back? Potentially. As they transition from whatever was going on before to DC Studios, it looks like potentially DC has some pretty cool projects coming out soon. The highly anticipated Batman 2. We've got some official news. And no, it's not been cancelled, although it should have been out already. Made some people think it was going to be cancelled. But it actually looks like the Penguin is going to feed straight into the Batman 2. Then we have the Joker 2 coming out in October. And we have the highly anticipated The Superman or Superman Legacy coming next year. So Matt Reeves has been speaking a lot about the Batman 2. As you know, I'm a huge fan of Robert Pattinson being Batman. Huge fan of The Batman, although it came out literally like 5 years ago now, or whenever it was. It looks like it could be happening. So, as I said, the DC content will be coming back when there's actual stuff to talk about. So, yo, what is freaking good, YouTube? Warstu here. If you're new and make subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, Kaiju, Monsterverse, pop culture-based content that I try to deliver on a daily basis, good subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on, and let me know down below. Are you excited about the future of DC? Are you still hung up on the Snyderverse stuff? Or are you just like me, just like DC content when it comes out? So, check us out on Instagram at Warstu to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. Check us out on Twitter, WarstuG. Right, so the press screeners are out, the screeners are out, people are already talking about the Penguin. I chose not to watch the screener or not to even apply for a screener. Why? Because I like to watch it weekly. The problem with getting screeners are, usually they throw the first episode or two on you, or they throw the whole season on you, and I just wanted to watch it as it came out. So Matt Reeves is doing press, and he's told us when the Batman 2 takes place. The Batman 2 takes place a week after the conclusion of the Penguin during the winter. So yeah, you know what people are thinking, winter, blue logo, Mr. Freeze. That's essentially what everyone's getting at, and what it looks like. The Penguin story plays out over the next week that takes you towards the end of the year. We don't play Christmas or New Year's, but we're getting there. So it is interesting how it's going to take place just after the Penguin, which is cool because Colin Farrell absolutely hated getting into that costume. And it's led people into thinking that's going to be the last time we actually see him don the Penguin. But he won't. They just got to find an easy way to get into it. So not only that, he went into much greater detail and said much more information. He said, when you look at classic trilogies, it's not as if you go, well, that was just another format altogether. Like, I want it to feel of a piece. But I think the idea that we're trying to push yourself in other ways, if that opportunity presents itself in a way that doesn't feel. So his words are kind of interesting. Doesn't feel self-conscious. And then I'd be open to that. As we go through explorations, when we're fully into prep and we start casting all of that, we go through camera tests as we always do, and we'll look at that again. So he went in even more detail, which is interesting. So it's cool that he's kind of telling you bits here and there. Matt Reeves, when asked if he plans to film the Batman 2 in IMAX, I don't really get why people, I do get why people are obsessed about IMAX, but it's not really that deep. And the thing you have to understand about is, like, in the UK, there's not that many IMAX screens, and there ain't really that many IMAX screens everywhere. I guess the question is, would we go to the IMAX and the whole format? I don't know. It's tough for me because I'm so drawn to the aesthetic for what we're doing. So essentially, yeah, it's probably going to be filmed in IMAX, but that's kind of classic now. For most movies, most Marvel and DC movies are actually shot in IMAX. So Matt Reeves has been answering a lot of questions. Matt Reeves confirmed that Batman 2 is shooting sometime in the first half of next year. We are finishing up. Madison and I are at it every day. We're getting very close. We've given big portions of it to DC already, and they're super excited. We're getting close. That is freaking awesome. So Collider did an interview, and there's been a bunch of interviews, Total Film, all over the place, generally because of the Penguin. But it is cool that it's looking like potentially Mr. Freeze. But I wouldn't get your hopes up, because just because it's going to be set in the winter period doesn't necessarily mean that it actually is going to be essentially a Penguin-based storyline. So Reeves has been saying a lot recently. As Reeves reveals to SVX, the Penguin will serve as a bridge between the two movies, which is great, almost like the missing part. Our entry point is absolutely connected to where we left things in the series. There are details that actually connect right into the way the next movie begins, and the way that Oz enters the world as we hand the baton back to Batman. And Batman is on another case. It's really cool that this Penguin series is literally going to feed right into it. So he goes on to say, I would like these stories to be a meditation on the way Gotham is, the way it is. It's such a brutal place, and we're digging for the answer as to why these people's lives are this way. It's another mystery in the Batman Part 2 that's going to dig into the epic stories about deeper corruption, and it goes into places that we couldn't even anticipate in the first one. This seeds of where this goes are in the first movie, and it expands in a way that will show you aspects of the characters you never got to see. Pretty interesting. So a lot of people on Twitter and internet, if you've been looking up or trying to dig at what the hell is going to happen in the Batman Part 2, a lot of people seem to think it's either getting towards the Courts of Owls, which they did in the Gotham TV show on Fox, which is epic. They also did it in the latest Gotham Knights video game to a certain degree, and Mr. Freeze. So either way, if it is the Courts of Owls or if it is Mr. Freeze, I'm here for it. Now, I know I get a lot of stick saying I'm a fake DC fan, but the reason I've not covered much DC stuff recently is because there isn't anything to cover. But like I said, I will be covering Superman, I will be covering Batman, the Joker 2 is coming out soon, there's obviously Peacemaker Season 2. It is a good time in the future to be a DC fan, but we've still got to wait a while, because obviously Superman Legacy doesn't come out till the middle of next year, although it looks like they're probably most likely not shifting that date, as there was a Batman Unmasked thing in England recently, and the release date was still the same, and obviously the Batman Part 2 is a long time away, but we can get excited about it now they're actually talking about it, and now we have some concrete information to go over. Now, obviously, it's Batman, there's always going to be crime and corruption. But when the information came out that we just gone over, when he says dig into the epic story about deeper corruption, and it goes into places that you couldn't even anticipate in the first one, it makes me think, it makes Batman fans think, and pretty much anyone that knows anything about DC, or if you've watched Gotham or you played a Batman video game, you're pretty much going to get to the conclusion that they are most likely going to build up to some variance of the Court of Owl, which is a pretty damn cool storyline if they are going to be going that way. I'm not here to say they are, but that's pretty much what a lot of people are saying. And Matt Reeves went one step further. Matt Reeves is still planning to do a trilogy. He went on to answer like this. Things kind of shifted. I wanted the origin stories of those characters of the rogue galleries and the story the Penguin was originally going to be the entry into the next movie. And essentially, that's what's basically come out. It's going to be set just after the events of the Penguin, which is a really cool way to do it, because we know this is Elseworld. We know this has nothing to do with James Gunn's new universe. This is like its standalone own Batman universe. But if the Penguin TV show is going to essentially set up the next movie, that's pretty cool. More corruption, deeper story, Batman's already in a case, introducing some members of the Rogue Gallery in its own way. It does make people think that maybe Mr. Freeze could potentially be the villain of the second movie, and they're maybe going to tease the Courts of Owls out of nowhere, but he's already on a case, so we don't know. But it is fascinating, all the little bits here and there that are coming out since Penguin is getting ready to release. It's just little tidbits here and there and little pieces. A lot of people seem to think that the Hush was going to be involved, but realistically, yeah, of course, plot leaks are plot leaks, but realistically, no one knows anything really outside of what was already being said about the Batman 2. And realistically, officially, not that much has actually been said. But it seems like there's going to be other TV shows, because when asked about the possibility of a legal drama series following Harvey Dent, Matt Reeves noted that the journalists was thinking certainly in the way that our conversations have gone. So it's not like saying there is definitely going to be other spin-off shows, but if the Penguin is as popular as I think it will be, I believe it's going to be on HBO Max in America and Sky TV in the UK, as we don't really get much in the UK, and it has to we have to view it away on Sky, even though Sky's got nothing to do with HBO. It's going to be interesting. So hopefully the Penguin series is good, although Colin Farrell said he hated getting in the costume and never wants to get into it again. I mean, yeah, sure, if you've seen the video going around, it looks like it takes absolutely hours to get into. I can see, even getting paid all that money, I can see why you wouldn't want to get back into it. So that's pretty much the updates for the Batman 2. Hopefully there is some push towards the Courts of Owls eventually. And Mr. Freeze is an iconic character that has featured in the movie before, so most people would be familiar with it. The ratings from the people that have watched The Penguin are pretty damn good. People I've spoken to that got the press screeners, it seems pretty damn good. So I'm looking forward to more DC content coming out soon. The Penguin, Joker 2, Superman next year. Then obviously we have the Batman 2 whenever that releases. So yeah, bring in DC content back to the channel, just like I said I would. So like always, guys, let us know your theories, fan fiction plots for the Batman 2. Be pretty cool to read, and let me know how you think the Penguin's going to end. Obviously, I'm not asking people that have watched the Penguin, obviously, because people have already seen most of it. So like always, guys, I'll catch you in another video very soon. Catch you later.